Let's be honest, relationships can feel like trying to navigate a wild, uncharted territory without a map, right? One minute you're on top of the world, and the next you are just completely lost. But what if you actually had a map? Well, in this explainer, we're going to try and decode our super complex love lives using a really simple but powerful framework. I think this is going to be illuminating for a lot of us, so let's just dive right in. Okay, let's kick things off with this idea because it's huge. It is so easy to look back at past relationships and just write them off as failures or, total waste of time. But this quote, it reframes everything. Suddenly, every experience, every connection, it all becomes a lesson. It's all just valuable data on our own personal journey. And that leads us perfectly into the core idea for today, thinking of your dating life as relationship field research. Now, this doesn't mean you have to be cold or clinical about it, not at all. It's about becoming a curious, compassionate scientist of your own heart. Every single date, every conversation, every relationship, it's all a chance to collect information. So this concept actually comes from my clinical psychologist, Dr. Lane Lasater. And the whole idea is that these experiences, your field research, are absolutely essential. They're how you learn about communication, how you handle conflict, what you really need in a partner, and maybe even more importantly, what you definitely don't need. It's all part of the process. Now, before you head out on any big expedition, what do you need? A solid base camp. And in the world of relationships, that base camp is your ability to be happily and comfortably single. This is stage one, and honestly, it is the most crucial part of this entire journey. Let's take a look at why. What's so important about this is how it all comes down to freedom. When you know deep down that you can build a full and happy life all on your own physical space, your own emotional support, your own social circle, you stop making choices out of fear or loneliness. You learn how to handle those empty weekends, you push yourself to try new things, and you build this incredible resilience. That foundation means you can enter your next relationship from a place of strength, not desperation. Okay, so our base camp is established. Now it's time to actually conduct the fieldwork. And this is where practice relationships come into play. But notice, we're not just talking about romance here. Friendships, dynamics at work, even your family. All of these are opportunities to practice and to hone your relationship skills. This image just nails it, doesn't it? These experiences are your training ground. They're where you learn the real give and take of a partnership, how to recognize what someone else needs, and what true compatibility actually feels like. They're preparing you for the real thing, whenever and however that shows up. All right, let's pause here for a really crucial distinction, one that can save you a world of heartache. And that's the difference between being unattached and being unavailable. See, unattached is simple. It just means you're not in a committed relationship. But unavailable, well, that is a whole other psychological state. It means that for whatever reason, you aren't actually ready for a partnership, even if you think you are. So here's the key takeaway. Just because someone is single, it doesn't automatically mean they're available. They could be rebounding from a huge breakup, they could be dealing with some unfinished personal work, or maybe their own life foundation just isn't in order yet. Recognizing this both in yourself and in other people is a total relationship superpower. Okay, so now that we've got those foundational concepts down, it is time to look at the map itself. This is a framework for understanding all the different types of sexual relationships we might encounter during our field research. Think of it as a guide to the entire emotional landscape out there. Yup, according to this framework, we can pretty much categorize our sexual relationships into 8 distinct levels of intimacy and commitment. Just understanding these levels can bring so much clarity and help you figure out exactly where you stand, so you're not just left guessing all the time. Let's break them down. So let's start with the first level, the affair. It's defined by that violation of commitment to someone else. The real takeaway here isn't about judgment. It's that being involved in an affair is often a major signal that your own life foundation needs some serious repair before a healthy partnership is even possible. Next up, let's talk about brief encounters. You've got your hookup, which is typically a one-off, spontaneous thing, really focused on immediate gratification. But then you have a fling, and that's different. A fling is a relationship that has a known expiration date. Think of summer romance or a connection you make on a trip. The key difference is that both people know it's temporary, and that shared understanding changes everything. Okay, now we're moving into relationships that are exploring potential. It might start with a tryout. That's just dipping your toes in, exploring the realm without any promises. Then you might move to an arrangement, which is more defined, like friends with benefits. Here, it's understood by both people that it's a relationship of convenience, not a path to long-term commitment. But then you have the trial run, and that's a serious test. That's when two truly available people are actively seeing if they could be compatible for life. And this brings us to one of the most painful and, let's be real, one of the most common experiences, the false start. This is what happens when you think you're in a trial run, but you're not, because one person just isn't truly available. Your expectations and the reality of the situation are completely mismatched, and it almost always ends in confusion and hurt. And there are two main types of these false starts. Type 1 is that classic rebound, where someone jumps into something new way too soon after a breakup. Type 2 is what we can call the if only. This is when someone has deep personal work to do, like dealing with an addiction or past trauma, that makes it impossible for them to be a real partner, even if they really want to be. Recognizing these patterns can save you so much time and emotional energy. And finally, after all the field work, all the research, all the trial runs, we can arrive at the destination for so many of us, the committed partnership. Now, this isn't something you just fall into. It's the result of both people having done their research, built their own solid foundations, and successfully completed a trial run together. They're both emotionally and practically ready to build a life together. So, now you have the map. And the power of this framework isn't just about sticking labels on your past experiences. No, it's about helping you navigate your present and your future. It's really a tool for self-awareness and for much clearer communication. So let's just quickly recap the absolute must-knows. First, your ability to be single, that is your superpower. It's your source of freedom. Second, every relationship is practice. It's teaching you something valuable, so don't dismiss it. Third, always, and I mean always, look beneath the surface and consider true availability, both in yourself and in others. And finally, use these 8 levels to find clarity and to get way better at communicating what you actually need and expect. And that leaves us with one last big question to think about. Looking at your own life, your own foundation, and your own field research, what level of relationship are you truly available for right now? The honest answer to that question, well, that's your starting point on the map.